One of them on the list, is that someone that we know, like Cameron? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Many of them
Maybe
have,
used before?
yeah, well,
Or,
but yes, Cameron is somebody that is familiar, but many of them have been are familiar within, locally, some are not locally, so, it's, they're, that's why we want to do reference checks as well. If we're not familiar with them, we want to make sure that we're, doing our due diligence to ensure that we're not just getting somebody, that don't come back. Well checked.
I had a question, and this will be for staff, or Dr. Brady or Dr. Cochran. And one of the articles that I read for iNewsSource, which was good, mentioned that we were looking for a firm, but it said that we were looking for a firm at a deficit. Can you speak to that? Or I don't know if that was accurate for them to say that, or
Yes.
what our budget looks like for this process that we're going to do.
Absolutely. So thank you. Sorry I didn't have my mic ready. Yes, I read that news article as well. And so what the news article speaks to is accurate and consistent with what we presented in the unaudited actuals report. So when we presented the unaudited actuals back in, I believe, the September 10th meeting, we showed and shared that we do have a current deficit spend, and that last year we had a deficit spend during the 24-25 year of $20 million. And we have high reserves, but of course reserves are lowered when you have a deficit spend. And even at our beginning fund balance this year, we had a beginning fund balance of around 32%. That's very high for a school district, very high. And even so, this year we had at that time we had a $13.5 million deficit spend. And so I would agree with what the news source wrote. The news source also wrote that National was like many other districts across the state of California, and that's true as well. And this kind of speaks to the trend that we've had over the past few years, where as a result of the COVID pandemic and then receiving significant funding from state and federal governments to help recover from the COVID pandemic, school sites had a lot of funding and have been spending that funding down. And just like any school district that has a fund balance that year over year is dropping, we will also need to correct, just like any other school district, to remain solvent. And so we fully intend to do that. I hope this provides a little bit of clarification.
Any other questions? Mrs. Brady?
Yes, I had an opportunity to speak with President Gates, and she did also have a similar idea about blocking some time on board members' calendars, and her proposal was potentially every Wednesday, everybody's available of the month. So on the off Wednesdays for a board meeting, we could start there, and you could check your calendars, and if anybody had a conflict, we could remove that one, but maybe get a bank to start with, and then as we learn more about the process, potentially then adjust that schedule. And of course, there are special board meetings, so they would be noticed just 24 hours in advance, and you don't have to publicly approve that calendar, but something so that you would have some time set aside. So that was her idea.
And some of the board meetings would be during a vacation time, so we can do those during the day. But also we might want to consider a Friday because if somebody is coming from the candidate potentially might come during traveling time, we might want to consider it not just on a Wednesday, so they can give them a travel day, so like a Friday or a Monday or something. We need to be a little bit flexible on that too.
Yeah, so of course, I think revising when you know your timeline, because that would be a very specific week, and then we could work around that. But that might be one of the first things you'll want to do once you get the search firm in place, is to do a timeline, a projected timeline, and know what that week is, and we can set those calendars and add to some pre-set aside times.
Just based on the experience we had last time, right? So I just wanted to, that's a little bit in the future, but, just to throw that out there, but that's Wednesdays would make sense for the time being, because we already have that kind of in our routine, but yes, going forward, that might be something that we need to consider. So, and in a nutshell, that's what we kind of went over yesterday. Being that Monday was our deadline, we had a very quick turnaround, but we do have to conduct reference checks before we bring forward on the 10th. But on the 10th, we will also have the firms make a presentation. So be prepared, we'll have a long 10th meeting.
Any other questions or comments?
Got my light turned on, madam.
Oh, excuse me, Ms. Sarmiento, I just saw your light.
Thank you. I'd just like to say that I will clear my calendar, be available as needed.
Are we talking about Friday afternoons or Friday evenings? And Michelle.
Any day or time on Christmas Day too.
Be on the clock.
Okay, Merry Christmas. We are now gonna go to, any other discussions or comments?
I'm gonna add one more
Dr.
thing.
Brady?
Just for, just a procedural, if the board makes a selection after seeing the presentations on the 10th, once you pick that person, you'll know their cost, because that will be part of I assume, the proposal. And you'll know all the details as outlined in their proposal. So we could take that contract and bring it for you for ratification, and you could authorize them to start right away as long as you pick them, and then we can ratify the contract. So that's another procedural option for you.
Thank you.
Clarifying question.
I don't see any lights put on, so. No comments, no questions? We'll now go to item 9B, discussion and adoption of the governance team protocols. As a follow-up to the board workshop held on October the 15th, 2025, and after the discussion with legal counsel, the board will discuss and adopt the governance team protocols. Any questions?
So if I could just add a couple of things here. I had a chance to meet with President Gates to set the agenda. And the priorities were the priorities that you set and reviewed on February 26, 2025. Identifying as a board member, those bullets that you reviewed came directly from our workshop. It's a summary, so I just wanted to make sure that you felt that accurately summarized what we discussed. The general norms were things that had been on in the past, but the only ones that President Gates kept were the ones that are not in your current bylaws. All the other ones that Jordan had talked to us about being part of the bylaws were removed from that list. The board budgets, the annual board budgets is $2,400. This was from a previous board workshop, rolled over. And again, outlines the different things that the board might need in terms of resources, the carryover, which conferences are included, which conferences are not. And I know that at the workshop, there was a question on the coast to coast, because at the board workshop before that, we had talked about potentially sending board president, delegates. That was not in our board budget outline, and both the two board members that attended coast to coast, both of their budgets were charged. And I know the board has a link on my weekly update to each of your budgets, and you can see that both of those board members were charged for that trip out of their budgets. And then the annual organizational meeting, that one is kind of a combination of Trustee Lopez in the regular year and the election year, and then Trustee Sarmiento. So in a non-election year, everybody moves down a seat and the president moves down to the end. In an election year, if there's a vacancy due to a non-reelection, or if someone were to step off the board for some reason, then everybody would move down through the vacant seats, and then new board members would be placed in front of the outgoing president in alphabetical order. and then all remaining trustees come down the dais. If somebody declines, this is what trustee Sarmiento had mentioned, there might be somebody that doesn't want to take a leadership role for a year for a personal reason. And so you could decline the nomination for 1 year maximum. So the next year you would have another opportunity to be nominated again. And if you declined again, then you would go down to the end of the row and continue working through the process. And so again, for any other vacancies, the rotation would continue through the vacancy. So the same thing. Does that sound like what we talked about? Okay, because I know we have that coming up. We wanted to make sure. And then if you look on that last page, all of that was removed from our previous board governance team protocols because it's all part of the bylaws and or captured in what we just saw. So,
Thank you. Any questions? Any comments? None?
okay, so I think that would call for an adoption of these.
We have a motion for an adoption. We have Mrs. Bettencourt Castaneda has motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Mrs. Cindy Lopez. Trustee, please vote. We'll now go to 9C, approve out-of-state travel for CSBA Coast to Coast. Registration for the 2026 advocacy trip is open. Trustees and superintendent or designee will state whether they are interested in attending based on available budget. Comments. Each year, the California School Board Association provides an opportunity for trustees and the superintendent or designee to attend a coast-to-coast advocacy trip to Washington, D.C. Conference dates are from April the 13th through the 15th, 2026, and travel will occur from April the 12th to the 16th, 2026. The estimated budget needed is $3,500. Recommended, approved out-of-state travel for CSBA Coast to Coast 2026. Do I have a motion?
Are we asking to see who wants to go?
I think you can approve out-of-state travel, and then anybody with the budget that would want to go could go under that blanket approval.
This budget, is that per trustee?
The estimated budget is per trustee.
Any comments?
So just to clarify, this budget would be from the current budget that we have right now,
Our own budget.
our own budget.
Right, so each trustee gets $2,400 a year, and you can carry $1,000 each year over. So the max you could have is $4,400. $4,200.
Do we have it in our budget?
44.
We just said
We always get it.
44.
Has it always been that way?
No one went this year.
That's the way it's going to go.
Did Barbara go this year?
I didn't go. I went the very first time they had it, you went, and I believe, I did not go last year to Coast to Coast.
This year, this past April.
I have not gone to Coast to Coast. I went the very first time that they had it,
So you didn't go.
several years back. No, I would like to go, of course. I believe the last time that went was Mrs. Gates and you went also, Mrs. Brady. 2 years ago she went.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve by Mrs. Bettencourt Castaneda,
Second,
a second by Mrs. Sarmiento. Please vote.
Question. Well, would you be able to let us know later what our budgets are? I don't think
It's in the, on the weekly agenda.
It says our budget.
All of our budgets are, there's a link in there, in the weekly update. If you look on the, in her weekly update, on the top, we have a link to like the 911 calls and all that. It's the third, item.
And your budget is $3,400 currently.
You don't have money.
No, hold on. Is that right?
More than-
Mrs.
Hold on.
I didn't vote. Shame on me.
Item passes unanimously.
I'll get back to you, but I think that's what it is.
I can tell
They're well, they're together, so
So we're voting on who's gonna go.
yeah, your budget, your budget is 3,400 currently. Because you carried over $1,000 from last year.
3320. It's actually 3320.
Since she's looking at 19, 16, 17. She can't afford to go.
I go to a lot of places. I like to go to NALEO, the National Association of Latino Elected Officials. That is a great place to go to.
We're frugal. So are we going to vote tonight on who goes? Or is it just up to whoever has the money and is willing and able?
Well, we do actually have to vote for us to go out of travel later, out of state travel.
Well, this is for the out-of-state travel for anyone who wants to go to the coast to coast out of the board members. And it is pending the budget.
So we don't have to bring it back later on.
You wouldn't have to, all 5 of you would be eligible. And then let's say somebody came forward and said, I'd like to go, but didn't have the budget. They would not be eligible to go because they don't have the budget. And anybody else with the budget, with this approval, would be able to go.
But this is for next year, isn't it?
It's for this spring, 2026, same fiscal year.
But the budget that I just read is for this fiscal year, which is the current budget.
So we still have to go to 2026 to get a new budget.
So we have to wait till next
You
year.
don't get any more money till next July 1st, right?
I'll work hard.
Okay. So are we now?
I got a side job.
So
Need a motion?
So we don't have to say who's going anymore.
We need a motion.
We already did.
Passed unanimously.
We're ready for the next thing.
We're now ready for our next item, agenda item, which is 9D. Ladies,
I'm listening.
9D, nominate candidates as representatives to the California School Board Association Delegate Assembly from Region 17. Nominations for representatives to the California School Board Association's CSBA Delegate Assemblies are being accepted until January the 7th, 2026. Each year, governing boards may nominate their peers to serve as representatives to CSBA's Delegate Assembly. Elected CSBA delegates serve 2-year terms. These nominations are for the 2026-2028 term. Voting for nominees will begin in February 2026. Region 17, San Diego County, has 11 delegates with expiring terms as shown on the attached list. Before making a nomination, the nominating board must contact the nominee for permission to place his or her name into the nomination. Nominees may serve as on a CSBA member board. Any CSBA member school district is eligible to nominate board members within the geographic region or subregion, and each board may nominate as many individuals as it chooses. Recommended action. Nominated candidates are representatives to the California School Board Association Delegate Assembly Region. Number 17. We do have a list of, as far as Region 17, San Diego County has 11 vacancies as follows. Should I name them all? I will not name them all.
The public need to know.
They're
attached to the agenda.
Okay, then. So I was gonna suggest that we vote on them as a slate if the board is so interested in the meeting.
Mr. Sarmiento has recommended that we vote as a slate. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Mrs. Lopez has second. Please vote.
Item passes unanimously.
Item is passed. Thank you so much. Please to give the names out to the
I
public.
would like to say thank you because my name is on this link. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
You do when you vote. You just know when you vote. So when you vote, you'll.
Okay.
Right.
So now we're gonna go to educational services, number 10. Thank you for your patience. Presentations from Integrity Charter School. Speaker, Dr. Laura Philpott, Assistant Superintendent, Educational Services. Presentation on Integrity Charter Schools, the 2025 California Assessment of Student. That's it. I just to let you know, that when Integrity Charter School first started, I was the president of Integrity Charter School. When it started over there on Palm Avenue by the church. They get mad about that.
I'm not mad.
I appreciate that.
I just wanted to let you know that I was part of it when it first started, and they had it down in the basement.
I
Yes,
just
you are a
appreciate
part
the
of our
fact that
history.
she lets us know every year.
Yeah.
We'll have
Thank
Dr.
you.
Philia introduce our guests.
Dr. They will introduce you.
Great. So thank you. Every year we do receive an update on the work occurring over at Integrity Charter. And so this evening we have invited the Executive Director, Ms. Teresa Hart Sanchez, and to share information about and provide an update. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, Governing Board and Dr. Brady and the Executive Cabinet, as well as the community. Thank you for having us here tonight. I am Teresa Hart Sanchez, the Executive Director, along with Melinda Wold, who is our Assistant Director. I couldn't do this work without her, so she has to be here. We are excited to share our presentation with you all tonight and let you know what's happening at Integrity Charter School. We have a theme every year that was started by Melinda, and last year was Accelerate Learning, and this year it's Motivate to Accelerate. So we're kind of keeping on that path. So first, okay, thank you. So first, we'd like to share some data with you all. We worked extremely hard last year because the year before was a hard year for us. So we knew we had to make some changes and make some improvements. So with that being said, we have on our data table, California, NSD, which you're all familiar with how NSD is doing, which is great. There's an increase there. Ourselves and America's Finest is a school we just went to go visit, which is not that far from here. So we thought we'd add in a charter school that was close by, which serves the same demographics of students that we do here in National City. And so in 23-24, we were at 32.1% of proficiency in ELA. We have grown 4.51 percentage points, and we are now at 36.61% proficiency. And in math, in 23-24, we were at 15.87% proficiency, and we have grown 4.43%, and we are now at 20.3% proficiency in math. We still have a lot of work to do there, and I really love Dr. Falau, if you and I could work together around what's working for our students at National City as far as math goes. Okay, thank you. And in our English language development, we started at 8.65%. We've grown 10.31%, and we're now at 18.96%, which puts us higher than California. And that was a lot of work, and we have an ELD coach that is working with our teachers, and I think that's made a huge difference for us. And now I'm going to have Melinda share a little bit about what led to our success. I shared a little bit about our ELD coach, but I'll let her add some more.
So as Teresa said, we've had a theme for the last 3 years since I've been here. And last year was our theme of accelerating our learning. And so as a staff, we really had our professional learnings around best practices in instruction, specifically in direct instruction, and looking at our demographics again, because we do have a high population of students who are learning English as they, add to their primary language. And we also started to dive deeper into our data as well, because our data tells our story. And so we want to know what that story is and where we are going great and the work we need to continue or to work on. And so some of the things that our data was telling us is extended day was an opportunity to add intervention for our students, especially in the areas, when we look at the CAS scores where they're right there on the cusp of moving up one more level. And so we implemented extended day 3 days a week after school. We re-looked at our PLCs, and so we refined the PLC work, and we are looking more closely again at the data. Again, what's the story that it's telling us? Our coaching models, so I'm working closely with our instructional coaches on providing that right there feedback and guiding it through the student perspective so our teachers can see what they are doing impacts our students greatly. And you can see with our scores, it is impacting their growth academically. We also are a school where many of our teachers are trained in GLAD, and we have some new teachers on board where we added them to that training. So now we can have a full staff who has the GLAD training, which supports not only our English learners, but every learner on campus. Test prep as well to prepare our students. That testing is always going to be in their life as students. And so what a better way to do that now at an early stage. And then on top of that, again, looking at our demographics and the needs of our students. And one of the things that we wanted to really start looking closely at was our multi-tier levels of support. So looking more at the tier ones, our curriculum, and how are we approaching that so that we are really providing an equitable education for all of our students, no matter where they are and where they're coming from. One of the things that led to our success. What are some additional things that are adding to success that we want to continue? And so this year we are continuing with our focus on college and career. We have some opportunities for our students to have not only just intervention, but arts. So as you can see there, we've added choir and music, and we hear them singing twice a week. We have included sports opportunities for our students by our PE teachers. We have, let me see if I can pronounce this, Uniendo, so storytelling and drama. Ocean Connectors for our science thinkers. Cheerleaders, we started that last year. It's going very well. Our 6th grade camp, we have an LLS walk and the Heart Challenge, and our art classes. And so we're not just focused on the academic, we're also focusing on the behavior piece, the social emotional, and all of those other enriching activities that our students crave and our parents are asking for as well. And here are some photos of our life at Integrity Charter School here. See our cheerleader team. We had our winter concert that's coming up. We have a fall festival every year. And then we have our Family Fridays once a month where our families get to visit our classrooms and see the work that their children are doing.
Okay. All right. Speaking of families, one of my big pushes for our school when I took over this role was about our family involvement and engagement in our school. It's really important to us. We have an Integrity Parent Committee known as the IPC. And they are a lovely group of ladies who come to the school. You'll see them inside our lounge prepping things for teachers, for events that are happening at our school. They really are the heart of the school. And it's grown a lot over the last couple of years. It's so lovely to see. They all have a really great relationship with each other as well. I think they call each other besties. They spend a lot of time together, which is lovely. We have our school site council, our English Learner Advisory Committee, Family Friday, as Melinda mentioned, which is once a month. We have we have parents who meet all together first. And I always invite community members to come and share with our families what National City has to offer. A lot of times, even though families have been in the community for a long time, they don't realize there's so much here that is offered to them. So at our last meeting, we had the National City Rec Center come and share all of the activities that they do, like the Kimball Holiday, all of the classes that they offer at the MLK building, and parents get really excited about it. They're like, we had no idea, which is lovely. Oh yeah, Melinda learned there's a pool here in National City, which they also share. And then we have a fall festival every year, which is a huge event. We've already had it this year. Our winter concert is coming up December 17th. You're all invited if you would love to come. We actually host it at a space in Spring Valley. We needed to rent a church space in order to do that because we don't have anywhere currently to host the winter concert. We have a family picnic every year on the last day of school at Kimball Park. An open house where our students showcase their work. During open house, the sixth graders always do wax museum, which is really lovely, where they take on the role of somebody famous or career, and then they act as that person, which the parents really love. That's the most popular class that's visited during that time. I also host a high school articulation night every year where I invite local high schools, charters, private, and your comprehensive high school to come and share with our families so that our families know they have a choice and what is the best fit for their kids. We offer free CPR class with certification to our families that are interested. My husband is voluntold to do it for free. And then Integrity pays for their certification, which families really love that. And they always ask, can we have pet CPR classes? Which I think, oh, I wish I knew how to do that too, because I would want to save my dog if something happened. This year we added coffee with the counselor, which is lovely. And parents, of course, are always concerned with their children's mental health well-being. And so that's been a great addition to our school as well.
So to motivate to accelerate, we're focusing on the student engagement piece with a universal design lens, which we're diving into our baby steps this year. And we have a trajectory of where we want to be in the next 5 years with UDL. But we're also want to celebrate our students too. And so we're celebrating with our attendance recognition. So we have trophies for the classrooms that have the top attendance each month. We share that with our parents as well in our weekly or our newsletter that our communications director sends out. We also celebrate our Jaguars of the trimester. We're the Jaguars, holy Jaguars. Not only our students, but also our staff. So every month we recognize staff members who are showing integrity at our school. Test prep, when our students take their testing, so their assessments like the LPAC interim, our past interims, our STAR benchmarks, we look at who's growing, no matter if it's 0.1, as long as they're growing, we go to their classrooms and we present a certificate for them, and they get very excited for that. We also, at a Family Friday, we celebrate our students as well, giving them certificates and recognition. Professional learning sessions that are very focused and are connected each time. We know that makes the relevant to our teachers when they know they can see the connection from January to June, and there isn't any question about that, and that really helps the work that we're doing all together. And then, as I said, our staff Jaguars of the month. We started that this year, and our teachers are really gung-ho about having their picture in the hallway and their name announced. So those are some things that we're doing all around at our school to motivate, to accelerate, and our goal is to keep that movement going forward.
Okay. Any questions or comments for us?
Yes. I'd just like to say you've come a long way.
Yes,
You know, and Teresa, I credit you for that because a lot of these changes have been made since you've been at the helm. Congratulations,
Thank you.
and very impressive. Thank you for your
I
presentation.
appreciate that.
Mrs. Castaneda?
Thank you. I'd just like to also congratulate you guys on this presentation, but all the work that's being done. Yes, last year was a challenging year, but we all have been facing some challenges. But it's an amazing growth, and but thank you for both. But thank you for your amazing leadership. And it's obviously paying off. I wrote myself a note is what are the differences that you've been doing to see the results, and you guys answered those questions. And so I loved all the examples you gave that you're doing, and I'm very impressed. So thank you. You answered, what our concerns from last year, and you went, to the drawing board, and you demonstrated what needs to be done. And I love the voluntold.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll have one at home.
I know he's helped you guys out too, but yeah, I mean, I tell him you have to do it for free. So you gotta come on a day off and do it for us, so.
But it's for a good reason.
Yes,
It's for a good cause. I mean, it'll help him also in his less responses on his end as well.
Right.
But I mean, the fact that for me, it's I've always been a proponent of family involvement, and for you to have that part of your presentation, that thank you for that. As when I first became a board member, there wasn't very much, and to see that as part of your presentation, I'm ready for that.
I think we have to see our families as our partners,
Absolutely.
right? And so as long as we keep with that mindset, then I think it grows that for our school, right? Because they feel very welcome, and that's what we want.
And our kids are going to achieve that much more. So, I mean, I know my kids have all those fond memories of me being almost like right there. And so Ms. Hayes will know that he turned around and there I was, but that's how our kids will have that additional support, not just on campus, but then it trickles into the home. They know that they're not going to get away with anything because mommy and daddy know everything is going to continue from the past to the home. It's that partnership that's going to continue. I had another thing I wanted to share. The coffee with the counselor. I love that. The mental health component of it. You see it more and more, and it's not just with our kids, but we just recently had the NFL issue with mental health. It's everywhere. We need to have so much more awareness. So thank you for including that.
I do think it is so fortunate in the presentation for Mrs. Estrella earlier. I thought there were such lovely things said about her, and it made me think about our counselor as well. And I was like, they really are so important to our dynamic in our school and do so much for the culture. And the kids gravitate towards, them because they know that's their safe space. And I think that's extremely vital for schools.
It's very personal to me, so we're going to put that, when that's included, it's very important. So thank you. Good job.
I just want to say, echo my colleagues, thank you for your presentation and for your gains in academics. And wanted to clarify, your school is a TK to 8 or K to 8?
We're a K through 8.
K through 8, okay. So this data that you've shown us is 3 to 8?
It's 3 to 8, yes.
Thank you. I think, it was great. I love the GLAD training corporation. As a GLAD teacher myself, that is like one of the best tools, I think, to teach language. I think if we see you next year, I would love to see your reclassification data and how your students with IEPs are doing as well. I'd love to see their gains as well for next year. But thank you so much for the work that you're doing with our students, our population, and in this wonderful city that we are in. So
Definitely. Thank you.
And I thank you for asking that question about our students with disabilities. My background is a special ed teacher, and so that is part of our work too. Like when I said equitable, I mean everybody in there. So it's really working together with that UDL lens that's gonna help us see that it isn't just gen ed and special ed or ELL. They're all kids and all have a need, and so our work is to provide that as best as we can.
Mrs. Brady? Dr. Brady?
Yes, so I just wanted to say it was really nice to see the growth. It's been great to work alongside Integrity, serving the same population, the same students in the same city. And so we've done a lot to stay in sync, and we both of our school district and Integrity Charter School saw a little bit of that COVID delay in recovery. And so to see both recovery this year was really great. One of the things that the federal government says is that the school district should learn from charter schools. And so we always kind of push you, and I really loved your idea of bringing in the city to share what's happening in the city and making those connections. And we have several administrators nodding in the audience going, I think I'm going to do that. But that's something I'm going to bring forward to our leadership team. I think that's a really great idea, and love to pick your brain on that.
Yeah, I just want to share, since you do have some of your administrators in here, that the people in the city, once you reach out to them, they are so excited. They're like, please, we want to come and share, because I think a lot of those are great resources that aren't being utilized, right? And so they want the families to know and want to share that so that they can be utilized. They're so willing to help. They love the city just as much as we do. And so, like, please reach out to them. They are excited about it. But yes, let's talk.
Yes, and so my only one question was similar to Trustee Lopez. Do you happen to know your reclassification rate, the rate of how many students you reclassified last year offhand? And if not, you can just let us know.
We just talked about
Yeah, I don't, but I was actually signing a whole bunch of reclassification certificates
For this
today. Yeah, around 4:00. So I know we've got them. We had a kindergartner score a perfect on the LPAC.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
I will get back to you on that.
Any other questions? I want to congratulate you. The school has gone a long ways, and a lot of people like yourselves that have all these great ideas, and your accomplishments are absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for all that you've done to our students. Although they're not all from National City, but the ones from National City, and all of them, I have agreed with everybody, what they have said. You have done a wonderful job. Thank you so much for all that you do.
And can I just add one more thing? I just wanted to appreciate Dr. Brady, because this is probably the last time I'll be presenting to her. So I want to honor you. I don't want to cry. Sorry. I didn't think I was going to do that. Anyway, I appreciate you so much, and the partnership, and filling your shoes is going to be really hard. So, keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, everyone.
And
no, I'm sorry.
Good night.
Good night. We now go to item 10B, presentation on the gifted and talented program. Rishi?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Oh, yeah, we'll do another presentation. Assistant Superintendent Educational Services.
All right, well, good evening, everyone, and thank you. Thank you, governing board members, executive cabinet. So this evening, we will be providing an update on our gifted and talented education program in National. And I want to thank board member Sarmiento for her request to specifically ask for this presentation on this topic. And as you know, our educational landscape continues to change and evolve. And with this, so do our programs. So we'll be providing some updates of some of those changes. So we wanted to just begin with establishing a common definition provided by the CDE about what is GATE, or Gifted and Talented Education. So the CDE defines GATE students as being students who perform or show the potential for performing at remarkably high levels of accomplishment when compared with other students of their age, experience, or environment. So with that common understanding, it's just important to note that being a GATE student is more about how you see a given task or challenge, how you problem solve, how you think about that. And it speaks to that aptitude that's really unique within the individual. It doesn't always necessarily mean that you're a straight A student. And just as we want to meet the needs of all of our students, we want to ensure that we're offering a program that supports the unique needs of those students who have that advanced learning potential. And so as we were preparing for this presentation, we did reach out just to confirm with our local school districts on how GATE identification may or may not impact our students as they move from our district to the Sweetwater Union High School District. And we did learn that really there are no formal GATE programs or GATE placements in that district. So, but any GATE identification information, they may look at that, they may use it just to best inform. It could be one factor of potential placement for any accelerated classes that they offer in middle school. But really they look at multiple measures on that. So it's not necessarily that they have to have a GATE identification. They're looking at other data points in determining placement for classes. And so again, our neighboring districts do continue to provide professional development to their teachers around supporting the needs of all students, although not necessarily specific GATE training. Also, we did confirm that while they take the information, they don't have any specific kind of formal system of tracking the progress of those GATE identified students. But while this may be true for our local middle and high schools, we in National have a different viewpoint and a different approach to that. And so really in NSD, our work revolves around this commitment to each student to ensure that we're illuminating human potential to positively impact the world. So by implementing GATE identification process, we want to uncover those hidden talents among our students. We want to unlock that potential with the purpose of nurturing their growth and the development of those students. So we're committed to ensuring that our educational system not only supports our students who are struggling or are in need of intervention or extra support, we also want to ensure that all of our students are growing, that they're supported, and that they're challenged to become really their best selves. And so here in this graphic, there have been many ongoing efforts that have been occurring in National around GATE programming over the last several years. And this is kind of summarizes some of those, some of that work. And so there's several aspects of that plan that were implemented to varying degrees. But what you will also note is that there was some, obviously with COVID, there was an impact on the degree of implementation for some of these plans. And so really this idea of defining the program and then really looking at that student identification process is really an area where kind of that was where it was left there, and then with COVID happened, and of course we know the impacts of COVID and what that had. We just saw it at the last meeting, the data presentation. We're starting to see some positive results now as that takes time for that recovery. But really it's a time for us to maybe dig into this area around identification. And so there's been several shifts that have occurred over the years in that identification process. And so we created this slide to help demonstrate some of those changes. And so what you can see here is that we implemented the use of the for grade 3, a universal screener. And that tool was to identify our GATE students. And from our past records, we can see that we used the Rabin's progressive matrices And at that time, we had 15% of our students who were meeting that criteria. It's also important to note that at that time, the state was providing funding for our GATE programming. So then what you see though is that over time from that 2013 to 2019, here we just really wanted to note that that GATE funding stopped. And at that point, districts were asked or had to make decisions around allocating resources to support GATE programming. So then in 2019 to 21, that was COVID, and we all remember that. And so during that time frame, National continued to use the Ravens screener, and that at that point was a paper pencil administration of that assessment. And so really what we saw is some impact there that happened. So the schools closed in March at that time, but so that testing was interrupted. So there was kind of some gaps in the data that we were gathering at that time. And so from 21 to 23, the screening resumed. There was some effort to capture students who did not test. So there was a focus on grade 3 and on grade 6 at that point, just to reestablish that baseline. And here we started seeing a dip there where we saw 10% of students that were meeting that criteria. Now in 23-24, again, there were efforts to try to screen students who were maybe missed and focusing there on grade 6 at that point. And again, there was some significant changes there in that there was a shift in the screener itself. So the Raven, that actual assessment that was being used was updated. And we'll give a little bit more information about that in a little bit here, but it also shifted to a digital version. And so with that new tool, that process of identification and the criteria, all of that though remained the same. So at that point, we saw a significant dip with only 0.75% of students who were qualifying and meeting that criteria. So we had some changes, but we kept the criteria the same. What you see here then in 24-25, again, this was last year, that shift continued. The screener was used, but they went back to screening 3rd grade. And again, we only saw 0.22% that were meeting criteria. And so really at this point, I think the GATE committee, there were conversations around really trying to take a look at what was going on there because we had a process for screening, but obviously we were missing capturing some of those students. And so that brings us really to this school year where we're really focusing on understanding our GATE programming as a whole. So with a focus on the screener and the criteria is what we're really trying to dig into to understand. And we believe that this is timely so that we could really understand that current context just to ensure that we're identifying appropriately our students. So we did want to share a little bit more information about those results and what we found out about the screener and the changes in the screener, and then really just our new direction moving forward. So I'm going to be inviting up our MTSS coordinator, Lisette Blanchette, aka Data Queen, and she will be walking us through the next couple of slides.
Thank you, Dr. Filia. So this slide presents the district GATE identification trends over time. So if you follow through the data, you can see that before COVID, our identification rates were about 15 to 17%. Once we had the school closures and we started to give the test again to our 3rd graders, they dropped to a 10%. The following year, they stayed the same as 10%. However, once we introduced the new Raven test, the scores greatly dropped to a 0.75% when it was given to 6th graders. And then when we gave it back to 3rd graders, it came down even more to a 0.22%. So to better understand these changes, the next slide is going to outline the differences in the Raven test. So the 1998 Raven, which is the one that was given prior, it's a test that was given paper and pencil. the new test is given digitally. The previous test is a full version of the test that had about 60 items. The new test only has about 24 items. The previous test was, we had to do it paper and pencil, and it was hand scored. The new one is scored automatically. The previous one took anywhere from 40 to 60 minutes. The new one only takes 20 minutes. The one in 1998 was norm with the demographics at the time. The new one was norm and with the demographics in the United States around 2018. Another thing that is not in the slides that I think it's very important to note is that the paper and pencil was black and white. The new one is in color. So it adds another variable which makes it more complex because you're adding one more variable to the test. So both measure exactly the same thing. So to better understand this, we identified 3 important things. We noticed that the revised version of the Raven test varied significantly from the previous version, especially with the number of items and the complexity, and because it's given online. We also noticed that because of COVID, there were testing gaps in 1 year, and then some grade levels were assessed, but some grade levels were not assessed. So we didn't have enough data to compare the trends during the years for COVID. And the last one, and the most important, is that we were only using a single assessment to determine if a student was identified as a GATE student. So to address this, the GATE committee has been researching what other districts are doing online. We also have been looking at the criteria posted by the California Education Department, and we've been working on creating a multiple measures identification matrix. This is important because this matrix not only includes the cognitive assessment, but it also includes achievement data like CAS, iReady, and classroom performance. It includes a teacher checklist and characteristics inventory. It includes parent input and referral, and also additional considerations for English language learners, students with disabilities, and for low-income students. So now I would like to pass it back to Dr. Filmer.
Okay. So really, after kind of a close analysis of taking a look at where we were at, we have come up with some next steps that we're proposing here. So what we want to continue is that, again, our plan then for this year is to continue to implement that universal screener to be used in grade 3. And we're also going to add, though, a referral process to be able to allow parents or even teachers to refer students and that maybe they see some potential for GATE characteristics in a student, then they could do a referral. Again, our goal is to try to cast that net and capture all of those students that might have that potential so that we could put them through the screening process. Of course, we'll continue to be collaborating with our GATE committee on an ongoing basis, really to review our data as we make further decisions. As far as a pilot then, what we're going to be trying out this school year as a new component is that, again, we're going to develop that identification matrix that includes the multiple measures, as Ms. Blanchett described previously, to include screener results, multiple academic data points, teacher input, parent input, and also an acknowledgement of any additional impacting or factors that we should be considering. And again, we'll also be applying that multiple measure identification matrix to students who tested last year also. So we want to just capture any of those students that perhaps we missed. We will continue to use that information and be reviewing those scores in order to kind of confirm that we're on the right track. Really, the general understanding is that we should be hitting about 5% of our population would be identified GATE, and so we want to make sure that we're capturing those students. As far as expanding, again, we want to continue to look at the implications. So we want to support our teachers in providing some opportunities for training around how to differentiate to GATE students. And we also even, as mentioned before, we even want to look at our after-school programming. What type of offerings are we providing for students that might continue to challenge them in different subject areas? So we're going to look at that also, kind of maximizing those ELOP resources that we can maybe offer those opportunities after school. We're going to be also, the way that we're approaching this is really looking at GATE as part of our multi-tiered systems of support and really trying to ensure that we're monitoring students and their progress and ensure that, again, they're continuing to grow. And through all of this, we want to make sure that we're sharing this information with our community. So we'll look at trying to ensure that our community is educated on these opportunities, that they're aware of it, that they're aware of the parent referral process as well. As parents, we know our kids the best, and so if we want them to be screened, there'll be an opportunity for them to be able to make that referral as well. So that is kind of a brief update, kind of letting you know where we're at with our GATE programming. And again, our goal is to be able to identify those students to ensure that we have a solid identification process and program, wanting to ensure, of course, that their brilliance, regardless of background, is seen, nurtured, and celebrated. All right. That's a wrap. Any questions for either of us?
Lopez?
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Filia, for the presentation. I was a GATE student myself, so I remember the test, the black and white. It was wonderful. But anyways, I had a question. Just given that Sweetwater doesn't have anything in place right now, well, two-part question. One, does Chula Vista have a GATE program?
We did not find any evidence of any formal GATE programming.
Okay, so I think my question would be, as we move forward with finding ways to classify or expand this program at our district, would we then continue collaboration with Sweetwater so like they can honor that, right? So if we have this GATE under diploma or transcript,
Yeah.
what translates when they go to middle school, high school? Are they placed in advanced classes? I think I would want to see that fruition of that partnership to also push them and
Absolutely.
continue that.
That's a great suggestion, and I think our hope is to continue to build that relationship with Sweetwater, and just so that we're articulating on all different pathways for our kiddos and also for our families so that they know what does it all mean when they move on. Yeah.
Thank you. I too was a GATE student. And I remember in junior high school, I went to Granger, and they had A, B, and C classes. What I didn't know at the time was the A was the really smart ones, the B was the mediocre, and C was the not so much so. And I remember having a teacher that was giving really tough assignments, and then it was XYZ, not ABC. But I asked him, why are you giving us, we had to do a case study on a country in Africa. And I said, I'm seventh grade, why are you giving us this stuff? You know, and of course I would always fight it. I always wanted to know why. But I was never really impressed by him. But now looking back, I understand it a little bit better. But also too, all of my 6 kids were identified GATE, as are my grandchildren. And this is really important to me. And thank you, by the way, for your presentation, because hearing that the students had tested last year and what was it, no one or one student passed, I was so discouraged to hear that.
Yeah.
Because number one, I know my grandson is smart, and for him not to qualify as a GATE student, I'm just sitting here thinking, bah humbug, I don't buy any of this, and something's wrong at the state level that, they're trying, I don't know if they're dumbing down our kids or what, but I was so frustrated to hear that. And we know we have smart kids, we know, and plus those kids, I was telling my grandson about a study done years ago where they would put low achieving students in a gate class and they would kind of rise up to that level because they were socializing with kids that were smarter, they were learning side by side with kids that were smarter, and it obviously brought out the intelligence in those kids. So we know there's a lot to be said for all of that. But anyways, I want to hear more. I want to keep paying attention. I'm really frustrated that the state has pulled money for such important programs, because if we want our kids to be successful in the future, whether it's junior high, high school, or college, how are they going to be successful if they don't give them the money and resources to be able to do that? The field trips, all that extracurricular stuff, they need all that. And in fact, my kid's gate teacher is a very good friend of mine. We see her regularly, and she teaches my grandkids now, when we get together. But you never lose that. As a gate teacher, you're always teaching. That's something she'll do for the rest of her life, and it's something that the kids and grandkids are all going to benefit from. And I think it's so critical that we keep pushing, no matter how or why. You're the one with the answers. You're the expert. I'm just a grandma. But I want to see it continue to happen because it's so important for the future of our students.
Absolutely. And I think that it's a good start right now just to evaluate where we're at. I mean, that question of just looking at the data, just looking at that alone, has certainly caused us to really reflect on what was going on there, and it gave us a chance to dig in. And so I think the work around building the multiple measures, and again, being able to capture and apply that matrix, not just to this year, but trying to capture it for last year as well. I think that's important as we're just trying to find our students. We do know that our students are so smart and have so much potential. So it's really on us to tap into that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to also thank you for the presentation, and hopefully we can build a partnership with Sweetwater District to ensure that we don't just do all this work and then it just drop off with us, because it's, it doesn't give the kids the advantage, with all of the knowledge and all of that work that we've done and then do nothing with it. So I'm pretty sure we know people that we can talk to, so.
Give him my card.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you so much for your presentation.
Now go to item 11, approve the educational management solutions with the classification study. And that'll be Mrs. Maritza Kovler.
Hello, well, I'm pleased to announce that with our partners from CSEA, we have selected a contractor to help us with the remaining classification study that is needed. And so if approved by the board, we have a contractor agreement moving forward that will help support a classification study for remaining classified classifications that are needing to be evaluated, confidential supervisory and management positions.
Make a motion? Second. Motion by Mrs. Castaneda and a second by Mrs. Lopez. Please vote.
Item passes unanimously.
Thank you. Now go to item B. 11, item B, approve the job description for community schools teacher on special assignment. Speaker, Mrs. Maritza. Oh, you already did that. Just a second.
The district has been working with our NCETA partners. We have been discussing the grant within the state grant for community schools that the district received. One of those pieces within that agreement is to hire a Community Schools Teacher on Special Assignment, known as a TOSA. Prior to hiring that position, the job description needs to be developed, and in conjunction with our NCETA partners, we're bringing forward a job description for a Community Schools Teacher on Special Assignment.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Mrs. Lopez and a second by Mrs. Sarmiento. Please vote. Pardon? Oh, excuse me. Second by Mrs. Castaneda. Please vote.
Item passes unanimously.
We have a. Excuse me. Consideration and approval of the recommended Citizens Bond Oversight Committee member. Speaker, Mr. Robert Colkin.
Thank you so much, Trustee Avalos. So our Citizens Bond Oversight Committee has a vacancy, and it is the Taxpayers Association position on the CBOC. And Ms. Eleanor Evans is an active member of the San Diego Taxpayers Association, and we are recommending her to occupy the position. If approved, she would fill that Taxpayers Organization seat.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Mrs. Cindy Lopez's motion to approve, second
Second.
by Ms. Sarmiento. Please vote.
I have discussion.
You have a question?
Discussion.
Any discussions?
She was already on it. It's just her term expired.
Thanks. So she was on it, and there was a period of time where she was unable to make the meetings. Following this, because the committee had not heard from her, she was removed by the rest of the committee members and appeared again and expressed an interest and a change in her schedule to the point that she would be able and available to make all of the meetings, and attended our last meeting that we had in September of this year.
Are the meetings in person here?
Yes, they're in person, and they are public meetings, Brown Act meetings, and they sit just where we all sit. Yep, up here at the dais.
Any other comments or questions? Please vote.
Item passes unanimously.
We now go to item B12, the agenda item. Conduct a public hearing for the collective bargaining agreements with the California School Board School Employees Association. The board will now hear comments from any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter. Anyone?
No.
As part of this hearing, we will make a brief statement. Speaker, Dr. Robert Cochran, Assistant Superintendent, Business Services.
Thank you, Trustee Avalos. So as part of our negotiations process, once we have reached an agreement, we do complete, as shown in the attachment, the exhibit that attaches to this board item, AB 1200, that provides transparency regarding the impact to the district's finances. And the finances, of course, the increase are for CSEA 1.75% on schedule salary increase for all Chapter 206 members. And additionally, a increase to the benefits cap to $18,751 for employees who are eligible for health and welfare benefits. And additionally, for any employee that is a CSEA member that is not eligible for those health and welfare benefits, an additional 1.75% in off-schedule one-time salary increase.
Thank you. Do members of the board have any comments or questions? None? Hearing is closed. Thank you. We will now go to item 12C, approve the tentative agreement and memorandum of understanding between the California School Employees Association and its Chapter 206 of the Governing Board.
Motion to second.
We have a motion by Ms. Castaneda and a second by Mrs. Lopez. Please vote.
Item passes unanimously.
We now go to agenda item 12D. Conduct a public hearing for the confidential supervisory and non-contracted management personnel salary and health and welfare benefits increase. The board will now hear comments from any members. The board will now hear comments from any members of the public who wish to speak on this matter. As part of this hearing, we will make a brief statement. Dr. Roberts?
No speakers.
Thank you, sorry about that. So the district proposes to give all confidential supervisory and non-contracted management personnel a 1.75% on schedule salary increase and make equitable contributions toward health and welfare benefits. It is to be noted that the board, of course, approved a tentative agreement and salary and benefits increase to teachers on October 10th, and then again with CSEA here at this meeting just a few moments ago. If approved, this salary increase will be effective July 1st of 2025. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any members of the board have any comments or questions? This hearing is now closed. Thank you. Now we go to item E. Who did that? Item E, approve an increase in salary and health and welfare benefits for confidential supervisory and non-contracted management personnel. The district superintendent is recommending that the board approve a 1.75% on-schedule salary increase and make equitable contributions towards the health and welfare benefits for the year of 2025 and 2026 school year for confidential supervisory and non-contracted management personnel. Do we have any discussion?
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Ms. Castaneda and a second by Mrs. Lopez. Please vote.
Item passes unanimously.
We now go to item F, discussion of bond measure 2026. Dr. Coffin.
Thank you so much. So the purpose of this item is really to gain interest and gauge interest rather from the board regarding the potential for seeking an additional bond measure in the future. So first, I'd just like to provide a brief bond update. So a significant amount of work related to our general obligation bond, of course, took place prior to my arrival here, and I continue to carry the torch with our team. But I'm happy to say that at this point, we have a timeline that could potentially allow us to construct some or all of the projects in the summer of 2026. We approached the board for a contractual amendment with SGPA, our architects, a few months back, and recently met with them to review and approve the scope changes that had been designed. And so at this point, we have a very specific scope, and we look to be going into DSA, the Division of State Architecture, in January with those changes. Expect to be out by March or April in time to bid and then work on building them over the summer projects. We think that some of the work may be able to be accomplished in our very short 37-day summer, and some of it may not. It may be something that some work happens before the summer break and a little bit after, and then the heaviest work that would be difficult if students were occupying the campus to take place during those 37 days. That's currently how we see the project going. We also potentially see these projects being done, some this summer and some next summer. In either case, we are happy to report that we have reached a point where we have designed out the budget for this general obligation bond. We are not looking to have additional projects or need additional projects. We don't have a remaining pot of money that we need, to determine what projects can be done with this pot of money. It is moving nicely on schedule toward the goal that we've been working on. So that being said, though, for any school district in California today, to be where we want to be with our school facilities, districts continue to pursue new general obligation bonds with their voter population. And with us having planned out our current bond to its capacity, and with us having the opportunity to, in about a year, November 3rd of 2026, to have an election day where we could put a general obligation bond on the ballot, a subsequent one, I wanted to, one, let the board know that we certainly could be working toward a new bond for 2026. We could be conducting a facility conditions assessment, revising our facilities master plan, working with our financial advisors and underwriters on what that bond would be, working with the political strategists to get the bond on the ballot 89 days before election day. Those are all things that we could be doing. And although it's a tight timeline between now and a year from now when that ballot measure could be in place, we haven't done any work with this whatsoever. Not to say that we couldn't. And I would also say I do see a path to us having a ballot measure at that time. However, I just wanted to gauge interest from the board. If that's something that board members would be interested in us moving forward with, I believe there's significant need. Do you believe that moving toward an additional bond now that this one is planned out to its capacity, is that something that our trustees would be interested in seeing us do?
Do we have any questions? Yes. Mrs. Sarmiento?
Yes, I have a question. What types of projects do you see may go on that bond?
That's a great question, Trustee Sarmiento. I think that there are a number of things that could go on that bond. Here might be a few suggestions. I think that entry modernizations, just as we've done with playgrounds, for example, the community drives by and they see a lot of playground improvements. And I would say that entry modernizations near the front of the school can be a cost-effective way to provide a little slice of modernization to everybody. I think that critical infrastructure is something that would be assessed as part of the facility condition assessment and woven into the facility master plan. That includes things like sewer and plumbing and fixtures and a continuance on accessibility to walkways or areas around the campus that aren't accessible. I think that anything that the district lacks infrastructure that could, with the generation or building of that infrastructure, potentially save the district money in other ways would be something that would be up for consideration. I think that safety and security upgrades are one for consideration. I want to be clear that when I list these things out, that these are things that are talking points or planning points that would be ripe for assessment to discuss whether or not these are items that would be of interest to our school district, right? Or ones that would fit us. Not necessarily that these are pre-planned. Like I said, we haven't done any work with this. I will say one last thing, which is that, the stage really begins in assessment. So our facility condition assessment would drive a lot of what are our needs, because we haven't done any work toward this currently. I could give you a list of needs that we commonly see, in our work orders or facilities departments, but really the assessments that we would conduct as part of the process for going out would really drive what types of projects those would be. I hope I answered your question. If there's more, if I wasn't clear enough, or if you'd like me to talk more about a particular point, please let me know.
No, that's helpful, but also, so you don't have a dollar amount yet till you do a needs assessment?
No, and typically, again, we've done no work on this currently, but typically, yes, the needs assessment would drive that, but certainly too, our financial advisors and underwriters would do an assessment of our tax base and taxes currently owed, and support us with a recommendation on what that dollar value might look like in terms of the ballot language.
Because I, as a board member, my main question would be, give me a reason, give me a reason to support this, and why do I want to, number one, be walking precincts, and I expect to see you out there walking precincts, by the way, and put all this effort into it unless we have a good, solid reason for it. So I just wanted to throw that out there. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Trustee Castaneda?
Okay, so if we were to do a facilities assessment, when would that happen? Is there a cost associated to that? And then how long would that take?
Thank you. So typically, each of the items I listed have a professional service cost to them, each and every single one. The conducting of a facility condition assessment, would be done by a consultant. Typically will take 4 to 6 weeks, and we'll make a number of recommendations for all kinds of things. Like, for example, the average age of your HVAC units is 25 years. And by the way, HVAC units typically go out and need to be replaced after about 22 years. They'll make all kinds of recommendations like that really help show us what those critical infrastructure needs would be. So 4 to 6 weeks would be a general time for that process to take place. And there are costs associated with them too. We would be entering into agreements with these individuals, these companies, to perform that work for us.
What would be like an average cost for each assessment?
So they typically range from, I would really need to verify, thinking about a 10 school district, it could easily be anywhere between 50,000 and 100,000 on each of these individual assessments. I think the thing to mention though is that there's a wide variety of what companies will price their services at. And so typically when we do something like this, we engage in an RFP process and make selections with, price or cost of the service as a component.
You mentioned about our schools, and I do agree our 10 schools do need a lot of fixing because they've been there for a long time. And during the raindrops that we had a lot of, bad floods. I know down at Kimball School and other schools as well. Was that all fixed already? I know we've done a great job on the playgrounds. It's really fantastic, as I drive by and see, even when I go to Kimball School, the playground is great. All of them have done a great job. But I think we do have to consider the fact, like you say, after 25 years, things do have to be replaced. And if you've made an adjustment already or compared what we really need in each school, I think it's a good way of starting out, that we do need to fix our 10 schools. Whichever one is is more in need of it.
So Trustee Avalos, I want to make sure I answer the question. I'm hoping that Dr. Brady will chime in and support a little bit. I was not here during the floods. I know that currently our schools are safe and repairs as a result of those floods, of course, have occurred. I do think that they are still vulnerable to further flooding type of incidents. And part of the reason I think that is because this bond largely was an accessibility bond. I don't believe that there was any correction to storm drains or upgrading storm drains or sewers, or there was, none of that sort of critical infrastructure work took place. If we had another 100-year storm or 1,000-year storm like that day, we would continue to be vulnerable. Dr. Brady, anything you want to add to that?
Yes, well, some of you might know there's a dungeon under Kimball. It's a little, that's what they call it. It's a storage facility. It's really dark, and there's like little doors that kind of go deeper and deeper under the infrastructure of the building. But also in there, there's some water damage that has created like a sinkhole. We have had it evaluated by a structural engineer. The building itself is not in any danger, but it does need to be backfilled and it needs to be fixed. And there are things like that around the district. You mentioned the HVAC system. One of our first bond paid for HVAC systems and technology upgrades, but Palmer Way already had air conditioning. Now Palmer Way has an air conditioning system that is aging, and it would be millions of dollars to replace at that one school. When we did a couple of parking lot upgrades with one of our bonds, and I would say that if you were to ask Daniela Ruiz-Joe sitting in the parking lot, sitting in the audience here, she would say, I need a parking lot to relieve traffic congestion or some sort of a traffic solution at Lincoln Acres. And I would say probably all of our schools could benefit from ideas like that, whether it's drop off, whatever would come out of those conversations. Roofs, you mentioned the floods. Roofs have to be replaced, and the state does not give us facility money to keep up when we are the second oldest school district in San Diego County. So we have a lot of facility needs. Our bonds are much lower than the bonds in San Diego County that you'll see, tens of thousands of dollars. We've had pretty reasonable bonds, but it doesn't go very far. It sounds like a lot of money, but it doesn't go very far when you're talking about doing facility upgrades. So I think it's, I would recommend to the board, it's worth a conversation. You would definitely want to poll the community to see what they want to see as well, but I do think that the needs are great. And with the right facility master plan, help me, correct me if I'm wrong, we could get matching funds from the state, potentially.
Yes, so the process that I described, right, is consistent in a requirement with getting state matching dollars. That's correct, right? So we would be doing that and then applying for matching dollars. And the way that works is a lot of times you apply for your projects, you receive, you get in line essentially, and as money is dispersed from the state, it's dispersed in the order that the projects are done. So there's always kind of a process of getting your projects in and then waiting. But for example, an $18 million, program could have an $18 million match, a few years later, right? And that's the strategy of what school districts who are regularly going after bonds and then, creating improvements around their campuses and then getting in line for more money. That is exactly the process that they use.
Two things. I know that we were very successful in our two previous bonds. So, so I just don't want to overload our community either. However, I do want to ask, on the two previous ones, I know Dr. Brady, you were there, you were around for one. Did we do the facilities assessment for the previous one? Because I feel like, is it necessary to pay all this money for all these industries, I guess you would say? Or can we just, as a district, prioritize the need individually? Because I know the roofs, I know just some of the schools, we really know where our needs potentially could be, as opposed to sending unknowns to our district and paying all this money out to the companies that we're basically could potentially be wasting money, where we know our district. We have good people already know that are doing the jobs, that find the needs already that are appropriate for our district.
So I know that we did a facility master plan in 2014 for Measure N. That was before my time. And 2 years later, we knew we had more projects. And so we repeated the same bond language with the same facility master plan because it was only 2 years old. So we didn't redo that. What I don't know is some of the things that you're mentioning. We did not go for matching funds from the state. I don't know why. At that time, I don't know if that program was in existence back. It was not back then.
There was a program in existence. At the same time, it did also run out of money, and the reapproval of the state facilities bond happened on the last general election cycle. So we do have a new bond with money that is there in the account to be dispersed to school districts. I will say, Trustee Betancourt Castaneda, that a new requirement under this state facilities bond is to apply for matching dollars. You do need to complete a new facility condition assessment and update your facility master plan as part of the prerequisite for applying and getting in line for that money. And I think the reason that they require school districts to do that is one, planning, right? It's important for there to be a plan. And of course, we do have really good people doing the work now, but we also could have transition. We could have transition of top decision makers, so to speak, or even board members, where the plan then begins to change, right? And that could create waste, right? And so one of the reasons that I think that the state facilities the office, the OPSC, requires that as part of application, is to ensure that school districts have a strong plan or foundation for the bond that they're going out for and for which they're going to apply for reimbursement.
Any other questions or comments?
Would we be able to include some of the cost to run off in the bond?
Are you saying, are you asking if some of the startup costs for these assessments, could that be wrapped into the current bond, is your question? Yeah, that's it. I'll just share that that's a common strategy that school districts who are regularly doing bond work, they commonly take that approach, where they'll utilize bond dollars to perform those assessments, update their facilities master plan or condition assessment, right, and then go out for the bond, for their new bond on the next election cycle without having spent any money from the district's non-bond funds. Yeah, that's a common practice.
Anything else?
That's my accounting side.
Thank you so much for your information. We now have board cabinet communications. Mrs. Lopez.
Thank you, Trustee Avalos. Just want to thank again our presentations today, our Central students for their Book Boss program. Congrats again to our Volunteer of the Month and our Employee of the Month. I also want to give a special shout out to the El Toyon PTA for all their hard work in setting up a successful fall festival 2 weeks ago, or for the week of Halloween, and for another successful 10th annual pumpkin decoration contest. It was really cool to see all the really creative pumpkins. And then also want to say I visited Central with Dr. Brady. It was really good to see all of the many resources for our families that are in place due to our community schools partnership. And also want to say thank you to our team for your presentations. Thank you, bargaining team. Congratulations on another a finished TA or approval of our TA. And also want to thank my colleagues for their advocacy against the fuel station. So much has happened between our last meeting and now. Wow. And just want to say, hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving break. And I also want to say happy 30th birthday to my baby sister at the end of this month.
Mrs. Sarmiento,
I have nothing.
Mrs. Castaneda.
Okay, but I just wanted to congratulate our Central students on a very amazing presentation, and to their librarian and principal for their support, and our parents as well. Congratulations to our volunteer of the month and employee of the month. Sorry, scribbler all over the place. Congratulations, Dr. Brady, for the recognition at GAVE. She was not feeling well, very much under the weather, and they got her on stage and gave her a special recognition. So, which was a surprise. So congratulations. Let's see. And also, congratulations to the city for and community for having rejected, I guess it would be the city council and mayor, for upholding the recommendation from, let me see, Planning Commission for not approving the fuel station for the city of National City. And so thank you for all those that were there for the very late 2 meetings to support the Planning Commission's decision. I thought we had late meetings, and they did us. So thank you for all the families, the staff, and everybody who was there. It was definitely a very long and freezing evening, to say the least.
Thank you. I also want
I'm
to.
sorry, I was
Oh, you're not done.
wanted to wish everybody a happy early Thanksgiving, and also wanted to wish my husband and I a happy 26th wedding anniversary for next week. And I hope President Gates feels better soon. So with that, you can take over.
Oh, thank you. I want to thank you for your patience, and Mrs. Gates wasn't here to give the she said I go next. Oh, I'm sorry, I go last. Oh, darn, okay. Mr. Cookman.
Trustee Avalos, you just tell me whenever you want me to go, I'm fine with it, okay? I wanted to say.
Thank you for knowing how I am.
I wanted to say thank you with veterans yesterday. I wanted to say thank you to our veterans and our military service members who have fought and served the country. And I wanted to say thank you to our book bosses at Central Elementary School. I greatly enjoyed their presentation, and appreciate the leadership that they're showing there in the library. I wanted to say job well done to Trustee Avalos for a meeting well ran this evening. And one final one to both CSEA and NCETA for real productive and collaborative bargaining seasons, and also to Dr. Keppen, Candy Byerly, Arena Cowart, who worked very diligently on negotiations, as well as the rest of our NCETA certificated bargaining team. So thank you, and everyone have a wonderful evening.
Okay, I too want to congratulate the students at Central. I love that they are learning how to fill out an application and interviewing. They're going to be ready for when they come to NSD if they want to apply here one day. I also want to thank Ms. Rimorin. Thank you for volunteering and your support. And I used to be a kindergarten teacher, and I always found that at the kindergarten level, That's when you hook the parents in and you get them in at kinder, and we didn't have TK back then. And they stayed with you. They were your volunteers. So thank you for everything you do. Congratulations to Ms. Estrella at Las Palmas. Also, thank you for everything that you do. And thank you, Dr. Filia and Lisette Blanchette, for your presentations tonight. Very nice. Thank you. I do want to say that Ms. Trustee Sarmiento, it sounds like you need to go to Coast, because you have to advocate for GATE funding.
She has the funding.
And then I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Thank you. Mrs. Delia.
Yes, so I just wanted to share and make sure that everyone is aware and invite them. Every Thursday afternoon from 3 to 4 p.m., we actually have our intramural soccer tournaments that are happening with our second and third grade students. And so this is happening through our ELOP Reach program, and they compete over at the YMCA Center. And so tomorrow, actually, it'll be Rancho versus Ira and Olivewood versus Las Palmas. And so all of this is leading up to the championship game, which will be on December 11th. So.
Dr. Brady.
Well, I won't repeat everything that was said. I think almost everything in my list was covered. I would like to invite the board to visit Roundtable. So the Roundtable has been meeting. I know Trustee Lopez got to plant some trees with the Roundtable, but this Friday they'll be back here in the board room from 9 o'clock to 1:30. And if you recall, we had an LCAP survey data point where we had a drop in kids feeling safe at school. And we said that the students we would address that with the students. So we are gonna do some tabletop discussions from, if you come at 12, you can have lunch. So 12 to 12:30 is lunch. From 12:30 to 1:30, we're gonna do tabletop discussions with educational services, the team. We're going to be talking about feeling safe at school, being engaged in school, what gets you up in the morning to have good attendance at school. And the fourth one is, how do you like our new science program? And where do you see our science program aligning with the Sustainable Development Goals? And so it'll be a very rich conversation for that hour. You can come all day if you want, but at that particular conversation, I'd like to invite the board to pop in if you have a chance and say hi to the kids. And with that, I just want to say thank you to our veterans. Happy Thanksgiving to all, and prayers for President Gates.
Thank you for your presentations and your comments. I also want to thank the students that were here from the Central School. They did a great job in speaking and looking at the board and telling us all that they've been doing. I think it's great. The teachers are doing a great job. And of course, our volunteer of the month for Las Palmas, I've always admired and respected them to come and help our students and our educators. And they're a great help to all of us, especially to you. And also going on that, the truck fuels, yes, the commissioners did vote against it. I did speak at the first meeting, at the city council meeting, because of the fact that my main concern was that what if the truck spills something, but actually their health, not only for the children, but for the educators who get there early in the morning before the children even get there. And they're late at night after the children, not at nighttime, but they're there after the children go home. They're also subject to this terrible environmental that's going on. I spoke about me having asthma, how I suffered from asthma. At one time we had the scrap disposal, and I didn't realize it till I was much older that they were letting all the fumes out at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And those days, way back when, we were able to go to bed and leave our windows open. So needless to say, we did not know that we were breathing all of that. I mean, I had asthma really bad. And so I spoke on that. And yes, it's true, they had the rooms really cold. I did speak to our mayor about it, Mayor Morrison, because he said, here comes trouble. That's how he refers me to. And I said, you know, Mayor Morrison, I've been to a lot of your city council meetings. And when it's a little chilly, you ask them to put the heater on. When it's a little warm, you ask them to put the air conditioner on. But now we had all these people that came, you wouldn't open the other rooms. You put very little chairs out there because you wanted them to leave. But Nashville City people are very persistent. And when we want something, we're gonna be there, no matter if it's raining, snowing, or storming. We're going to be there. And I want to thank all of you that did get to go to the last one and that we did win. In the beginning, it was a little iffy. You were there, a lot of comments, sit down, get out, don't come back, whatever. But, you know, I want to thank the board and our superintendent, Dr. Brady, who spoke up and did a great job. And all the parents that were there, Environmental Coalition, everybody who was there, who filled up the rooms. And I told our mayor that we might give him a bill if we got sick with the cold. We had to go to the doctor. But anyway, I was glad that it passed. Very happy that it passed. We don't need it. Nashville City is not for sale. So that was good. And I also want to say that I did attend a salute to the Navy. And the good thing about that is that the veterans were able to eat free. Although we did not have a lot of Navy, there was 2 Navy people that sat at my table, but it was spread out that the veterans could come and eat free. So I thought that was really great that they were able, and it did get packed. It was a full house that I was there because someone had said, oh, the Navy's not going to be there. There was a few Navy people, but most of them were all veterans and they got to eat free, which the food was delicious as well too. And so it was nice. And now we have, I want to thank everybody for coming and putting up with when I do know how to get serious. I really do, but not today. But anyway, Mrs. Sarmiento would like to say something.
Please.
She forgot to say something.
You know, Trustee Betancourt Castaneda, that is her name, you know. She reminded me of something when she was saying how cold it was at that city council meeting. I wasn't able to attend both of the meetings, unfortunately, but what bothers me is when I heard people come back saying they took all the chairs out of the overflow room. They wouldn't let them into the room adjacent to the council. The only people that had chairs to sit were the ones inside the council chambers. And shame on city council for doing that to their residents.
Well, I don't think it was a city council because our councilman, Jose Rodriguez, asked several times, please open the other room so our people could sit there. Please add, but he didn't do it. I mean,
And not just him, every one of them should have spoke up and said before the meeting, we want the chairs brought back. We want our people to be comfortable to be able to share. When we have meetings, we're expecting a lot of people, the awards and everything. We have it at a different location so that all the parents have somewhere to sit, and we accommodate the parents and the families as best as we can. And I think they need to take a lesson from us because obviously they don't care about the comfort of their registered voters. So I just had to get that off that chest.
I will personally call every city council member and let them know our feelings on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Said.
Starting tomorrow.
Okay.
And with that, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you for staying and putting up with me.
Hammer time.